Barbara. Welcome to Mess to Yes. Is there anything more iconic from IKEA than giant drum shades and their big bundle of twigs? But really, what do you do with the big bundle of twigs other than stick it in one of their tall vases? Well, I want to create a fantastic faux bois, which is just a fancy way of saying fake wood, drum shade chandelier, which in this case is actually kind of ironic because what we're going to do is take real wood and cut it and glue it vertically all the way around the drum shade and then prime it and paint it a high gloss white so it looks like that ceramic fake wood faux bois that you see in Z galleries and home design magazines. But it's going to be a fantastic pendant. This would be great at a beach house or even a really elegant dining room. It's really nice to have kind of a touch of something a little more rustic. So what I'm going to do is create a couple of different pieces here. First of all, with my twigs, the important thing is going to be that they're all relatively straight up and down and that they're relatively the same thicknesses. So I'm not going to use the pieces that are teeny tiny at the top except where I maybe need to fill in some gaps. I want to use the stuff that's kind of here in the middle width. And for that, I'm just using garden shears. Make sure you have nice strong ones so that when they cut really clean. So let's see, let me see if I can get one piece off of here. I'm going to start from the top just because there's a nice thicker one there. So you're literally just going to stand these up, go around and cut them off. And just do that over and over and over again until you have a huge stack of them. Excellent project for a favorite old movie night. So you can see I'm going to need a lot of these to go all the way around, but it's going to look fantastic when I'm done. When I get those attached, I am going to use, this is called Power Grab from Loctite. I'll put it on the blog. Don't forget, you don't need to remember these things. You don't have to rewatch the videos over and over again. If you're subscribed on YouTube, you should also be subscribed over on the blog. And that will give you all of the measurements, the exact budget, how we came in under $52, and every product that we used so that you don't have to replicate that. You can even just print it out and go buy your products if you want to. So I'm going to use this glue, but I'm only going to use it at the bottom and at the top so that I don't get big stains in between. Now I'll experiment with it a little bit, and if I can do it in the middle or if I need to do it in the middle, of course I will let you know that. I'm just really worried about staining, but the one thing I will say about this is it has a nice fabric coated outside and a plasticized inside. So we might not need to worry about the glue staining as much as I had originally feared. Then we're just going to hang this with our plain old ordinary $5.98 or whatever it is light bulb piece. Now we could get super quick and tricky and use some of the narrow pieces and wrap the cord and use twine, but you know, we'll see. Once that's in place, we'll play with that. The other piece I want to create is a disc for mounting it on the ceiling so it looks more finished. So I'm going to cut a hole in here the size of the plug so I can feed it through. You can also, don't forget, you can stop at Home Depot and get like white metal chain. I think it's like $1.98 a foot on the rope or on the aisle where rope and all those other things are. And you could put that on this to dress it up a little bit too if you wanted to. So this is going to be my ceiling medallion. I'm going to mount it up. And I am going to use twigs all the way around in a radiating design so that will be a little bit of a capper. Then once all my pieces are on here, I'm going to prime the whole thing in white. Now for a while I have been a proponent of the all-in-one primer and paint. Now that I'm really sensitive to $52 budgets This is $5.79. And you're going to need at least 3 coats to keep this color from bleeding through your shiny white lamp. So why not use the less expensive primer for your first 2 coats and then go back with the $3.79 glossy white for 1 coat, or even 2 coats then. But you haven't wasted as much of the expensive brand. Then once all that is white, and I'll come back and probably check in with you at that point, I'm going to finish it by adding some ribbon at the top and the bottom. And this is just a nice white grosgrain, and that'll cover all of my ends. I may or may not need it to be this wide, but I want to have plenty to play with. Then my final touch, actually I take that back. I will do this before I put the white grosgrain ribbon. I think every lampshade should have a little bit of a surprise. So this is going to be our pop of color inside. A nice sky blue, soft color for the room. I'm thinking of where we're doing it kind of a beachy, cottagey feel. But if you want magenta pink or fuchsia or bright green, anything you can think of could be really fun inside of this, because this white is a blank canvas. You can dress it up to go with anything in your home. So those are the steps. I'm going to spend the next hour or so cutting little twigs to size, and then I'll start gluing. Okay, so I just wanted to check in with you on the drum shade. First of all, come on, how cool is this? It is so fantastic, and I think it has something to do with just the sheer size of the drum shade that we covered. Sometimes when you do a DIY project, just taking the time to make everything parallel and making it larger is somehow a little bit more awe-inspiring. At least I inspire myself, I make myself happy. That's all that really matters, right? You're just doing it for you. So let me tell you a few things that I learned in cutting and gluing rather. 5 episodes of Mad Men. Took a long time. Blisters on my hands. Have a really sharp pair of whatever these are called. Cutters. Clippers. They're yard tools. I changed a couple of things. First of all, absolutely my new best friend, putting it up on the website. Go and look at the blog. I just had to put a bead around the tops. I would do like maybe 7 inches at a time, and a bead at the bottom, and it would stay wet long enough, not like a hot glue where you have to stick it in and stick it right on. But as soon as I put the piece of wood there, it held. It didn't move. My absolute favorite new best friend. And so I didn't have to put anything at all up and down. These are just completely free, but they're stuck at the top and the bottom. Because it held so well, and it looked so neat and clean, but not perfect, I decided to go ahead and use part of the stem to make the top and the bottom edges. I didn't want to cover anything with ribbon. Ribbon could get clumpy looking, and this is actually really architecturally beautiful just in and of itself. So this is what I did. When I was cutting the straight parts, you can see that there are parts where it's naturally curved, and you don't want to deal with that. So you start where it straightens out and make your first cut. Then I just held it in place and made my second cut. And made a pile. One pile of the things I'm not using, one pile of the straight ones. Kind of feel a little bit like Harry Potter with like a collection of wands, especially when you're going through and finding the piece that fits perfectly right next to the piece that you already cut. So now it's starting to get wobbly again, and it's too small, so that goes in my discard pile. So out of each stick, I usually got about 2. I bought 1 bundle at IKEA, and I have this much left after covering the drum shade. So there might even be one size larger there. I can't remember, but this would cover the whole thing, surprisingly enough. So you run your bead around, you stick them on. 5 episodes of Mad Men, blisters, have Band-Aids, do it over a couple of nights. Then Don't discard these, because what we're going to do is this natural curve in here, I'm going to actually cut those down into like 3-inch pieces. Ah! All right, I won't chase that one. We're going to just take it. I'll show you exactly how this works. I'm going to take it and put a little bead across the top. Now, one little bit of false advertising on this container of adhesive is it says dries clear. Clear power grab. Not true. This has been dry now for 4 days and it's still white. I suppose there's an outside chance that at some point it's going to turn clearer, but I doubt it. So, looking at your piece, following the curve of the top, you just sit it there. Look how that stays. It's so fantastic. It's like magic. Oh, I love it when things work. And I always tell you when they don't, so you know. And boy, that happens more times than we wish, doesn't it? Okay. Oh, come on. I still have my blisters on my thumb, so it's a little hard to cut. And there you have it. So, I think it's great just like this. My 15-year-old son said, "Why would you ever paint it?" But I wanted to experiment with painting this, so I'm still going to go to the next step and do the high gloss white and the blue. And you can look at the 2 different versions and decide which one you like best for your house. So, I'm going to get started with my painting.